So a few months ago, the biggest UK YouTuber KSI woke up one day and was like, hey, I need to start taking my YouTube channel more seriously. He's been making videos like Guess the Blank, athletic challenges, and of course, Try Not to Laugh in real life. In the Try Not to Laugh videos, KSI and Guess watches people come in one by one and try to make them laugh. If they are successful, the person wins $1,000. If no one laughs, then the person gets nothing. At the end of JJ's Try Not to Laugh with Calfreezy Chip, he teases that he's coming to America and will be shooting a Try Not to Laugh while being over here in the States. And all of this to say was that I was one of the contestants that came in to try to make KSI and Guess laugh. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my whole experience, what it was like filming with KSI, and breaking down the bit that I brought in. So how did I, this stupid little peon, get to be in this video? Pretty simple really. They had open submissions, I applied, and they got back to me saying that they wanted me to be there. And if you were one of the people that submitted but never heard anything back, well, that simply means you have no motion. I woke up one Sunday morning to an email saying that they want me for the video, and immediately my reaction is, uh-oh. It's real now. But pretty quickly I knew what bit I wanted to bring in for the video. In fact, I was so confident I didn't even consider any other bits. This will make KSI laugh with ease, I told myself. 5 days roll by and it's time for the big shoot day. Got up early, got ready, drove 45 minutes north of LA to this very random and quiet parking lot. As soon as I park my car, I see off in the distance a group of people huddling up. One guy was in a Naruto costume, so I immediately knew we were all there for the same reason. So I get out of my car, start walking over to the group, and that's where I meet Rohan. Rohan starts gathering everyone, he's hyping us up for this video, and he even goes out of his way to hatch a little scheme. Basically, Rohan's plan was that we should all say the same thing at the end of our bits. This will serve as a runner, you know, a comedic through line for the whole video, and it might even get a laugh out of them, just out of pure confusion. And what was the thing we were all supposed to say? Swarms is coming. And if you don't know Swarms, he's this UK musician, friend to KSI. We weren't being pressured to use it. This was just an idea that Rohan pitched to everyone to work to our benefit. And I bring this up to show the camaraderie that was happening for everyone. We didn't see each other as competition, we saw each other as teammates. Because on paper, we can all technically win the money. It's not like there's anything in the rules that say only 5 people can win money and then the rest of us automatically lose. But anyway, this big bus rolls up, and this consisted of KSI's team, which was a couple of producers and a couple of security guards. And I'd like to take the moment to shout out producer Shannon. She was incredibly nice and answered any and all questions that we had for her. Now, as we're being checked in and let on the bus, we still didn't know who the guests were going to be alongside KSI. I was personally speculating people like, oh, maybe Logan Paul, Kai Cenat, or even my good old friend, Mr. Beast. But I felt the most confident about KSI's brother, Deji, being in the video. You see, the night before, JJ and Deji appeared on Kai Cenat's Mafiathon stream, thus confirming that Deji was also here in the US, so I felt like that was a no-brainer. But then Shannon told us the reality of the situation, and we were all very shocked. The guests were none other than Sketch and Zach Justice. Now, I was feeling pretty conflicted at this point because one part of me was like, whoa, I'm gonna get to meet them, I'm a fan of those guys. But the other part of me was like, we are fucked. I have watched enough Sketch and Zach Justice to say with full confidence that these are two guys that do not laugh. Out of all the Zach Justice content I've watched, I've seen that man break once. Only the one time. You know what? Let's roll a clip, actually.
I think my heart is like an anti-vaxxer.
And that's it. That's the only time he's giggled. And the only times I've seen Sketch laugh is at his own jokes. He makes himself laugh, and that's it. So my confidence went from being sky high to being buried underneath decaying bodies. I immediately just start thinking of jokes I can splice in that are Sketch and Zach related. So we're in the bus for about a 10-minute drive, and then we actually pull up to Zach Justice's Dropout studio. This is where he films his podcast and his dating content, so it was pretty cool to actually get to be in the studio where all of that goes down. They bring us to the holding area, which is this big room with a bunch of gym equipment, and we're told we can't wander around or anything like that. We can only step out if A, we need to use the bathroom, or B, it's our turn to go up. Snacks, or as we call in the biz, crafties, was available to everybody, so that's of course very nice. And this is where we meet KSI's editor, Mo. He walks in, the room erupts, everybody's excited to see him, and Mo turned out to be a very nice and chill dude. Both Mo and Shannon give us the rundown, they explain how the day was gonna go, etc, etc. Oh, you know what, actually, KSI's security guard Steve also popped in his head at one point, and people were getting excited to see him as well. Look at Steve, the big intimidating guy who hovers around in Sidemen videos, wow! A little later on, Skylar, who is Zach Justice's close friend and work associate, also came in, and I ended up saying hey. And I think that threw him off because I'm pretty sure I was one of the only people who recognized him by name, because he looked at me and he was like, oh, hey. We were all given numbers. I was number 23, which I felt really good about because A, Michael Jordan numbers, I mean, come on. Wait, actually, I'm also wearing a basketball shirt. That wasn't even intentional. And B, my birthday lands on the 23rd of March, so I was taking all this as a really good sign. Oh, and just so you guys know, there were about 30 of us in the fandom side of things. They also brought in, on top of that, 10 stand-up comedians, so we didn't know that was going to happen. It really beefed up the competition, but it wasn't anyone I recognized anyway. I bring all this up because roughly there were about 40 of us, but realistically, I think for the final cut of this video, they're only going to use about 20. So half of us are going to end up on the cutting room floor. I mean, to be honest, I could be on the cutting room floor. I don't know if I'm in today's video, but I am feeling pretty confident that I will make the final cut of the video, and we'll get more into that later. They were bringing about 10 people at a time over for the shoot, and I was towards the end, so I was really spending my time pacing back and forth, rehearsing my bit, making sure I locked down the timing and the right words and all of that. Rohan came over to check in, and honestly, he was checking in with everybody, which is a very honorable trait that I saw in him, and he offered to hear my bit so that I can actually practice it in front of somebody. Now, I was very, very hesitant to tell anyone my bit. To be honest, quite a few of the guys did not come in prepared with anything, so the last thing I wanted to happen was for one of those bastards to steal my bit. But I knew I could trust Rohan because I knew what his bit was, and he was number 24, so he was technically going to go in right after me. I do my bit for him, and then he immediately comes in with his ideas. He starts punching up my jokes. He starts pitching jokes that he had that he wasn't going to use, and I was definitely appreciative of it because I had run over the bit over and over and over again in my head to the point where it's just it's not funny for me anymore. So I was definitely willing to take in any feedback whatsoever. But boy, oh boy, here we go. Me, Rohan, and a few others line up. They walk us a few studios down, they mic us up, and then we patiently wait outside the door until we get summoned in. At this point, my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was so nervous. As a former theater kid, back then, the nerves would always come rushing to me when I was off stage right before I walk out, and this was very reminiscent of that. Because now we cut to today, and now I have to walk out onto a soundstage with multiple cameras on me, and I have to try to make KSI, Sketch, and Zach Justice laugh. What are we talking about? Shannon was right outside the door with us. She chatted with me about what to do when I walk in there, and I think she can tell I was nervous. And she was very supportive, though. "You got this," she said in her British accent. Also, I want to point out the success rate of the people that were right in front of me in line that I witnessed. Number 20 made them laugh. 21 did not make them laugh. 22 made them laugh. So, if you're following the pattern, it's not a good sign for number 23. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's my turn. I believe it's Steve is the one who opened the door, and instead of walking right in, I just poke my head in and do the Dwayne Johnson eyebrow raise. And then I walk in and stand in front of the mic. And that leads to KSI asking, "Why did you come in like that?" And then I think I said something along the lines of, "I was just suspicious, is all. I should have said something better, I just want to make sure this was the right room." There's a lot of studios on this lot, Is that better? I don't even know. So I launched into my bit, and since there's a small chance that I'm not in the video, I'll definitely talk a little bit about what the bit actually was. Basically, I talked about how my whole life my mom has called me as a nickname the Spanish word for the color black, which, if you don't know, is negro. She's called me that my whole life. She really loved how my skin tone turned out, which is why she calls me that. And in certain Hispanic cultures, it's very endearing to have dark skin. And since negro is pretty close to the N-word, the whole joke was supposed to be, you know, KSI, I also know what it's like to be called the N-word your whole life. I mean, you and me are the same, brother. But as I'm doing this whole bit, it is very, very dead silent from KSI, Sketch, and Zach. I believe that there were some chuckles coming from the crew in the room, but that could have just been something my mind made up to make me feel better looking back from the whole experience. I really don't know. There were a few highlights that I wanted to talk about that happened while I was in the room with the guys. Zach Justice and I had pretty good banter. Both KSI and Zach were trying to get me to say the N-word, and of course I did not. I ended my bit with a Hail Mary, one last card on my sleeve. And no, it wasn't the Swarms bit that Rohan pitched earlier, because at this point, I honestly just completely forgot about it. I look to Sketch, and I say to him, "Hey, Sketch, by the way, my mom is a fan of yours." And then Sketch says, "Oh, tell her I appreciate it." And then I respond with, "Yeah, I called her the other day, and she picked up the phone by answering, 'What's up, negro?'" And still, they give me nothing. They didn't react at all to that. I was dumbfounded. They were all just like, blank faces all around. I could not believe it. Nothing for that. I just couldn't. Like, I'm going crazy just thinking about it. Like, how do you not react to that? But you know what the cherry on top was? As I'm walking out, I just hear KSI say to the guys, "I'm actually proud of myself because I got really close." But it didn't matter anymore. I lost the challenge. I couldn't make them laugh. I was very bummed about it for the rest of the day. That was easily the unfunniest I have ever felt in my life. And that's saying something, because I was extremely unfunny in high school, let me tell you. So I end up walking by myself back to the holding area, and actually Skylar stops me on the way and asks like how it went. And I told him the truth about how that I lost and I was really close. I also told him that I was a fan of Dropouts, which is the podcast that he and Zach used to do, so of course he was very appreciative of that. So now I'm back in the holding area and everybody wants to know, how'd it go? And I told them the very tragic truth. I told them what the bit was, and they gave me nothing. Rohan comes in after I do and tells us how it went for him. He tells us how his bit didn't go exactly as planned, but he was able to accidentally get a laugh out of them, which of course means that he technically won. Thus continuing that little pattern from earlier. 22 made them laugh, 23 did not make them laugh, and 24 made them laugh. I was beating myself up quite a bit for the rest of the day. For those of you who are new to the channel and don't know my lore, a year ago I competed on Season 1 of Beast Games and I was unfairly eliminated the very first day. I've spent the majority of my 20s feeling like such a failure. There are a lot of reasons behind that, but one of them is because of YouTube. I get so much getting to be a part of these huge YouTube videos. Not everyone can say, "Oh, I was in a Mr. Beast video. Oh, I was in a KSI video," but I can. And yet, I still feel like I just keep underperforming and failing, which is one of the reasons I'm still at the rock bottom of trying to get a career in social media. Right after I wrapped on the KSI shoot, I do the classic thing of, now that I know how it played out, now I'm going to think about all the things I could have said or done to make it better. Like, I should have reworded this, I should have made this joke, I should have pointed out that KSI had to look away. I've just run through all these what-if scenarios in my head. And there was actually one thing that Mo said to us earlier in the day that I really should have listened to. He simply said, "Show off your personality." And I think that was the biggest problem with my bit. I was too rehearsed. I wasn't mentally prepared for them to interject with things that they're going to say, which I told myself to be prepared for that, and yet I still was like thrown off whenever they chimed in. Like, I don't know. If I had simply put in more of my personality into my bit, I think I would have easily gotten a good laugh out of them. If you know me in real life, then you know I'm a little comedically antagonistic and I like to push buttons and be chaotic and all of that, but I don't think any of that really shows in my bit. And it really should have. I think they would have really enjoyed that. Hello, this is Pinkamous from the future. I wanted to put a little update here at the end for two different reasons. I was expecting it to come out yesterday on the 10th, but for whatever reason they released it on the 3rd last week while I was out of town. And I now realize that they cut me out of the video. Yeah, you would not have any idea I was a part of that video if I wasn't putting this video out right now. So obviously it sucks even more because it's bad enough that I didn't make them laugh in the room on the day, but now they're throwing more dirt into my wound saying, you're not even good enough for the actual cut of the video, you're out. But the second big reason that I'm doing this is because I just got done editing what you just saw, and I realized that I left the video on such a somber, sad note, so I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. Yes, it obviously feels shitty that I didn't get the $1,000, that I didn't make them laugh, that I didn't even appear in the video, but I wanted to stress to you guys that I am okay, this is gonna be fine, and I do believe that this whole scenario played out the way that it was supposed to. Shout out producer Shannon, shout out Mo, shout out Skylar, shout out Rohan, and shout out Cassidy. Cassidy I didn't really talk about much in the video, but she had a very funny bit in the final cut, so definitely check her out from that. And also she and I talked a little bit after the video came out, and she's very sweet, she's very kind, so I assume she's cool with people following her, so if you don't, please do. And follow Rohan as well. I also spoke to him afterwards, and those were the two that I enjoyed meeting the most out of all the contestants. I was 1,000,000% confident that they were going to add Cassidy's bit because, like, if you've seen it, then you know for sure. Rohan, I was like, they should put his bit in, and thankfully they did. He was the ender. He ended the video. That is an honor of its own. So even though I didn't make it out, they're funny, so I'm glad that they got showcased in the KSI video. But as for me, I also wanted to make this to talk a little bit about the future of this channel. I'm finally cleaning off the dust and the cobwebs off the channel, and I'm going to be coming back in a big way. After this video, I'm not talking about any more drama content. I just outgrew that, and it's honestly a big reason why I haven't been posting over the past few years. I'm also most likely not going to be making any videos about YouTubers anymore. I have a couple of like documentary ideas for YouTube stuff, but like I might not do it. I'm most likely not going to. And if you like the Jim Carrey video, then I will also be releasing a Robin Williams video. It's in the works. That man just made way too many movies, so which is why it's taking a long time. But not only that, I'm planning on releasing a video a month. This channel is definitely going to be focused around movies, which is something I'm very passionate about. When you think of movie channels on YouTube, you think of movie reviews, movie news, and also just reacting to movies. Well, I'm happy to say that the film content coming to this channel is going to be none of that. I am pioneering new things that we could do in the film content YouTube space. But just to give you a hint of the next video that's coming up, let's just say I had this idea of going on this movie theater adventure, and that's the only hint I'm going to give you, okay? That video I'm very excited to shoot, and it should be coming out next month. And of course, I'm still going to be releasing sketches and stream clips in YouTube Shorts. So subscribe to this channel, follow me on all my other socials. It's all at Pinkamous. And I also started streaming, so definitely follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pinkamous. It's a big new venture that I've been doing this year, which I've been enjoying a lot, so I definitely want to keep doing it. So if you want to get more of my devious, chaotic energy of a personality, then definitely follow me on there. It's going to be a wild time. And if in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Don't you worry.